Liberty Flights sponsors 10-Year Tip with Garry Dibley.
No echo. No echo. See, I can do it. Good evening. It is a Monday night. It is 9 o'clock, and it is time to tin your tip with myself, Garry Dibley, and Mark, the ever-capable modmaster. That is Mark. Bit of a hectic day. Hectic weekend. Very good weekend. Very, very good weekend. As you'll see a little bit later on. But I did get my second of these. Okay, fun, light, love them. Convert, total convert now. The Kato tanks have definitely gone. Now I've got two. I mean, it's only been 2 years on the Kato tanks. It's probably about time I got something decent. So really enjoying those, if I didn't say so before. What have we got lined up for you tonight? Interesting. I don't know if you see last year, but I had a Halloween head thing that we did. Somebody asked if they can borrow it, so I can get it out of the shed, and it needed a bit of tarting up. Ideal chance to look at, if you like, something different, and then I went completely bonkers, as you'll see towards the end of the show. Mark's going to be talking us through some battery bits and pieces, all happy days and good stuff. Very quickly, browsing as you do through Maplins, and if you actually pop on the Maplins and have a look, they've got a very good backlit multimeter for reduced to $7.99. Absolute cracking little meter. Now I know you can get them for £3 in China and eBay or whatever, but for £7 to be able to walk in and buy one, it is a stonking little meter. I've had one of these, and it's dropped quite a lot from what it was. So definitely worth a look if you're in the market for a multimeter, even if it's just for testing your resistance on your Atties and all that sort of stuff. Even if you're not going to mod multimeter, everybody should have one. If you're waiting, if you are, definitely get one. We're going to be sort of looking at how we're going to go forwards as well today at some point. Had a few requests come through on the emails, and we'll sort of hopefully go through there, take a vote as to what you guys want to see going forwards. I was sort of having to have a little break. That may still happen. There's something coming up at work that's going to take a lot of effort. Don't know when that's going to be, but it'll probably mean a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks off. Well, I'll be working. But yeah, I don't know when that is yet, and obviously we'll let you know as soon as that comes about. Let's pop into our first little video. As I say, me going slightly bonkers, pretty bonkers all the way through this week. Let's crack on. I'll see you back in 2.
Right, we're back for another week, and you may well be looking down at this thinking, what the bleeding hell's he doing this week? Halloween's coming, and I made this last year as sort of a prop for the show. Somebody's asked me if I've still got it because they want to use it for a bit of a display. So we're redoing it, and I'm going to respray it at some point. But effectively, this is a VV mask. Yes, maybe stupid, but hopefully it's going to show. Some of the things that we can do with you know the electronics. Now, this is actually a fully functional when it's back together. As you'll see, I've had to chop wires off and this, that, and the other or it's just been chucked in the shed, to be honest with you. And it's got battered, bits are hanging off. I nicked the battery pack out of it for the VV board, etc. But essentially, what it is a vaping head. And I don't know if you see last year, but there's a little out of his teeth down here is where the atomizer connection attaches to. We've got a full VV display in this eye, and if I put the battery in this holder here, we've got a separate circuit, which I'll show you in a little bit, which goes down to an external switch and doesn't work. Or is it that one? No. It may need more love and attention than I thought it would. Or putting the battery in the right way round might actually make it work. It may well do. Let me just see. Is that the one? That's the one. So in one eye we got a little flashing LED, which is a separate switch. And then when we wire up all this other circuit, you press this button and we get a voltage display, and we get a bit of a vape on there. So what we're going to do is be sort of piecing this back together. Now I say this is a separate circuit down here. This little bit down here, essentially I've got a little, basically an LED wired straight across a battery terminal, which also needs fixing back down, and just out to an external switch. Now I'm going to make these longer, but essentially I colour coded them. So I've got black for me LED and red for power. Good fun. My first little bits that I'm going to do is pop away, and I'll get some gluing done to secure these back in place. I've got to put a twin 18650 pack in. You don't have to be, you could use twin 14500s or whatever. This is purely going to be for display. It's going to go with some sort of a I don't know, mask around it, remote switches, and as Halloween is coming, people can press buttons and make eyes flashes. And if you just put a Carto on here, when you actually fire it, you get the smoke come out as well, or smoke vapour. I'll get shot for that. So pop away, let me have a look at gluing some of this back up, and then I'll get me battery pack in, and I'll pop back when we're in a position to show you some soldering and bits and pieces back into.
This week I'm going to be talking mostly about batteries, and to start off with, I'm going to be answering a question that was asked to me recently about the safety. As you'll see on this battery, it's got a rather large gap in the insulation, but I was asked about if there's a small hole, I'll say it like that, in your insulation, how safe is it to use in a mod or device, or whatever you want to call it. And I'd always advise, I think this is rather ratty, I'd always advise against using this, as you're compromising safety in one way or another. But exactly how much of a risk it is, I'll show you. It's going to depend on the sort of device you're using. So starting off with, the safest one to use a battery like that in would be something like this, a plastic case device where there's absolutely nothing for the body of the battery to short out against, apart from the other battery. As these are in parallel, it's not going to make any difference at all that way. If it was in series, well, actually this is in series, I'll tell a lie, can't remember how my own mods work now. There is a slight danger if both batteries had compromised insulation. You could short the negatives between the two. That would cause a problem. But the chances are fairly small for that. Next up, you've got your tin mods, where the batteries are held in a holder, so they're held separately and there's nothing for them to short against, except for the small possibility of the top of the tin shorting out against it. So there is a danger involved in that, but it's not massive, so you could fairly confidently use it in something like that. Next up, you've got what I'd call electronic devices, something like the e-cigs, so that where the flow of electricity will be going from the negative of the battery down to the, well, what should be a hot spring, through there and up through the casing to be switched either electronically or some sort of mechanical positive switch. Then the compromised insulation has a chance to short against the body of the device, and what will happen then is, rather than the power flowing from the base of the battery through the hot spring up the case, it's just going to flow straight up the case. And under those circumstances, you're bypassing your hot springs, so if something does go wrong, you're losing one element of your safety. So that's never a good thing. That deals with them. And then you move on to the most dangerous thing to use this in, and that's going to be some sort of bottom button device. Now, I've only got ones that are actually on the bottom, but this also applies to any of the GG type devices where the switch is on the side here, as they work exactly the same way as these. So what would happen in this is the power flows from the negative of your battery onto the switch part. When this is pressed up, this will contact the bottom of the battery, so it will flow through the switch into the casing up to the negative of the atomizer. And with the compromised insulation, it could short directly between the body of the device and the battery, in which case you're bypassing the switch completely, and then it's just going to fire constantly until either you completely flatten your battery, you blow your atomizer, or things are just going to get very hot and catch fire possibly. That is the worst possible situation you can have with these. So I'd always advise, keep an eye on your batteries, look at the insulation, check for gaps, and treat them well. Also, don't go cheap with batteries. The most important part, and they're the part that can go wrong. So get a good set of batteries from a trusted place, and also a good charger from a trusted place, and always use them together. Don't be tempted to go cheap, and don't go for, say, recovered batteries from laptop batteries, as you don't know what the condition of the battery is and how it's been abused in the charge. It's just not worth it for saving a couple of quid. So the short answer is, if it's got compromised insulation, I'd say don't use it, but know the risks involved if you do. Be forewarned. Now, would I say that because this is damaged, then I'd have to throw this battery away? Sorry, recycle this battery? No, it's not completely useless, and you can save it. I'm going to show you what you can do about that in the next part.
Right, well I've been gluing some bits in the head, and I've got my twin 18650 battery pack down here, and I've just taken off the strap for the moment. Reason being, this is going to be clad in something, I believe. Headpiece, all that sort of stuff. Hot glue coming out. I'm going to give it a little respray when that happens as well. But we've got our 18650 pack. Now this is essentially like wiring up a mod that we did last week. Yes, this is a novelty thing for Halloween, but it vapes, and there we go. You can actually vape off this if you wanted to. You'd have to be a complete nutter, but you could do. Quite happy today. Over the weekend, I got my 100ml of custard from Healthy Vape. And there goes my second purchase. My second K-Fun Light. Love them, love them. I have finally ditched the Carto tanks with them. Cracking, ordered at sort of 2 o'clock. It was done, checked out on a Friday and delivered Saturday morning by a smiling postman. No red card, happy days, good weekend. We're in a position now where we can start wiring some stuff up. And essentially, same sort of scenario that we've got. We've got our board here, which is a normal VV board, which I've got coming out via a switch, be it a remote switch, red one for fire, I've got a wire here which is a straggler. Now that one has got to go onto my battery pack because, as I say, we're switching the neg into the board. And then off this battery pack I've got a floating red wire which I've got to bring back round and just tack on the board up there. I know it's a bit difficult showing this one today, but I'm doing it anyway, so I thought it'd be worth a look. Why not? Halloween's coming. Not a thingy with Halloween, but there we go. All the little kids knocking on your door. Bugger off. No, I'm not a humbug. I could be, but try. First thing I'm going to do, let me just tin my tip. I'm going to take off the existing wire that I've got down on this board. I don't need that anymore. Leaving, obviously, room for my other one. And while I'm there, I've got a little floating wire that is going in its place. I'm just going to tin that up. And it's probably going to go well out of focus. That's tinned up. Strip that back a little bit. Like I say, it's going to be quite difficult to see. Take it out if we can a tad. So effectively, it's really like the mod we made last week. I've got my VV display in the eye. Now, I don't even know if this is still functioning. I really don't know. Let me just connect this wiring into my neg bit on my battery pack. Now, obviously, this is not a mod to make stick on your face. For Christ's sake, you do not want to be putting this to it, although it's pretty cool when you do. You don't want to be doing that. Definitely not. It's not safe having twin 18650s and an 18350 so close to your face, and then pressing buttons to make it vape. Not good at all. So I've got my wire back on there for my battery pack. I'm going to tidy that up around there somewhere. As I say, I'm not too worried about this being the neatest thing in the world. It's all going to be covered and it won't be seen and this, that and the other, so the wiring inside it really doesn't matter what it looks like. But essentially this is another way of, like I say, using the boards and the displays and this, that and the other. So our VV board is now wired up. I've got a battery on charge. Theoretically we could put two batteries in now and see how it goes. Problem I've got, I know last year that when I was actually super gluing my 510 connection between the teeth, quite a bit of super glue got down inside the threading, and I ended up with the Carto wedged in there. Now let me just get out a Carto, I'm going to use for testing purposes, and it's not going to screw in, so I've got to relieve that from the inside, which should be easy because it will just pop out, and I need to get my wires out. Now this is going to be a tricky bugger to do, and it's very hard trying to film this today. It is incredibly hard. Now I've lost my tools as well. Let me pop away, get my tools, but essentially what I'm going to be doing now is resoldering on an ATI connection back on here, and then I've got to get it positioned through with enough space left, and I'm going to get that this time epoxied in so I don't get sort of super glue everywhere like I did last year. Back into it.
And there we go, we're back in the room. During that video I was watching our chat, and somebody made a comment in there. I think it's Limental. That's how you pronounce it, I apologise. But yes, he was saying Dibley is probably the sort of bloke who looks at every opportunity to mod something when he's shopping. This is why the missus hates taking me. It is true, and you will see that a little bit later on, towards the end of the show, with the biggest tin mod in the world. I'm pretty sure it's up there. It's bigger than Mark's tobacco tin. Oh, there's mine's like that, and I'm talking the tins. Yeah, crazy. Let's pop into our first little air break. I'll pop back after this, and we'll talk some more.
Flight sponsors 10-Year Tip with Garry Dibley. iViber and iViber Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's iViber.co.uk and iViber-elixir.co.uk. iViber and iViber-elixir.co.uk, proud sponsors of ViberTrails.tv. Liberty Flight sponsors 10-Year Tip with Garry Dibley.
And we're back. Luckily, or thankfully, it's an echo-free day today. Hopefully it will continue. Had to panic press buttons just then. We've been sort of looking at what we're going to be doing going forwards, and we've had a couple of suggestions, and realistically, from my point of view, I would like to sort of put some of that to almost a vote, if you like. Three things I'm sort of looking at. We've been asked if I can look at the wire welder again. We did that a little time ago, and I've still got all of the bits and pieces. I think somebody's tried following the video, and whether or not it was the disposable camera. I'm talking about the ones built from disposable cameras, using for welding resistance, non-resistance wires together. So I've been asked to look at that again, or I'm fairly comfortable now. I've been a little while working on the wood lathe, and I'm getting fairly, I say confident. Confident is a bad thing to get with a lathe. You get confident, you get complacent, you lose an arm. I'm getting better, shall I say, on the wood lathe. So I wouldn't mind having a little bash at doing a wood mod on there. I've still got to finish the pipe. It's just taking so much timing to sort of get all of that sanded and all that. I put it to one side and got beat off a bit and just left it there. It's staring at me and haunting me. Or try and do something with a combination of the wood and the metal lathe. So I don't know, where we go with that, but if there's anything you do want to see, obviously let us know, and we'll crack on and get it made for you. Other than that, we do whatever you want within reason. Let's crack on with our second little bit. The one thing I've learned from this skull is never ever vape a Kato at 6 volts. Just don't. You'll see in a minute. Back in 2.
So now we've got a compromised battery that you don't want to use anymore. So rather than throw it away, what you can do is recover it. So the first job I need to do is get rid of the insulation that's on here already, as adding a second layer is going to make it too wide to fit into a lot of devices. So it's just a matter of carefully cutting or ripping away your covering, like so. And I've lost the top bit. So there you have an uncovered battery, and you can now see why it's so bad that the insulation is damaged, because this entire bottom section is all one solid piece. and you've got insulators at the top to insulate from the positive. So make sure you replace this bit back on there when you come to do it, otherwise that's going to cause you problems with possible shorting. And to cover it, I'm going to be using this stuff, which is heat shrink tubing. This particular one came in a 2 metre length, for about 75 pence, something like that, and it's 29mm wide when it's flat like this. That's the correct size for an 18650 or any of the 18 size batteries. So I need to measure out how much of this I want. I'm going to leave around about 0.5 centimetre either end to make sure when it shrinks it'll fit. So I simply cut off length. Try not to let it all unravel. Which is easier said than done sometimes when you're in a hurry. So here we have the length of heat shrink tubing. You can see it's longer at either end. So now you just need to open the tube out and pop your battery in. You see it's very close to the actual size, so it's not going to shrink up much. So position it somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to be using the blowtorch on this, but probably better off use a hairdryer on a high setting, but I don't have one, so I'll be using this carefully at a distance. And when you're heating it, you need to start at the middle and work out. If you start at the end and work in, there's a chance it's going to split at the end, because when it's shrinking up it's going to rip away. So start in the middle where it's free and let it shrink in over. So at a distance. Just start to shrink it all the way around. Take a little bit of time with this because I don't want it to go wrong. You just see it's taking on the shape of the battery. And that is what you're going to end up with, something like that. Now obviously you can't use it in this condition because you can't get contact. So I'm going to start at the negative end and just very carefully with a knife and just cut away so it's nice and flat. Like so. So now you've got a completely insulated negative end of the battery, and do exactly the same with the positive. try and make sure that it's as flat as possible, but also you want to avoid cutting away too close to the edge. And there you have a battery that you can use again. If you take a bit of time, trim it up, you can get something perfect, I suppose. Or what you can do, if you're very careful, is once you've cut it, you can use it again to just shrink it a bit more, and that'll flatten off with a thumb. There you have it. One recovered battery.
And we're back. Yeah, while all that was drying, I popped out with the wife and went to Sainsbury's. Bargain. I've got, because my PC, I'm running Windows 8 and did the upgrade to 8.1. And this little thing, it works on the Mac as well. Sainsbury's are doing a little trackpad thing. Reduced to a tenner from 50 or 60 quid, I think it was. It's got the Windows button and all that sort of stuff. It works brilliantly. I've just come up and been playing. I'm hence not modding. But yeah, all my glue set now. So effectively, I've got my 510 now secured down in his gob. You may, if you're joining this late, wonder what the hell I'm doing. We are making this. It's going in a shop somewhere, and our little 510 is now secured down in there. So realistically, what we're going to do is bang some batteries in, check all of our switches and all of that sort of stuff is working. Just getting one off charge. So let me pop my 18650s down in there. You may ask, why the hell would you want that? I haven't got a clue. We made it last year to do a show. So we've got those in. Let me get me one in for my eye. As I said earlier, don't put this on your face. Not that you'd even consider making it, to be honest with you. It would be silly, really. So I've got my little circuit in here controlling the LED. I've got this circuit here which is controlling the VV, which is going down in the eye for the display. Flip it over. And I have my two switches. As I said, my black should now fire up my circuit. Oh no, black does the eye. So that one does the eye. And this one here should fire up that display. 7.7 volts, serious voltage. Completely and utterly pointless. Yeah. Might give it a test. Pop away into. Right, and we are back. That was a very quick one. I've got my switches ready. I thought we'd give it a little test, just to see how it works. That's working. I'm going to blow the car any second now. This is stupid. There we go. Sound bites and everything. Yes, Halloween stuff. Dark thingy, mask, shop, Halloween, job done, and it really chucks out the paper. That's a little pre-filled carton. It's bonkers. It's spewing stuff out the top now. Happy days. It works. It's living again. It's breathing again. And it's now, wherever it's going, be happy. Right, back to me in 2. I may pop back with something else that I'm making a little bit later, which is just as bonkers. See you in a bit.
So why can't I say something to change this situation? Well, no great words of wisdom springing to my mind. What have I done to deserve this aggravation? No, I never said I'm perfect. If I did, it was a lie. Meet me halfway. Do I have to get a stick so you can beat me once again? Meet me halfway. 'Cause you're not fair. 'Cause I've tried so hard to get to know you, but you're not giving anything away. I've tried every trick in the book to try to break you down, but I stand defeated. I hold my hands up now, you beat me hands down, yeah. So why do you use me to vent all your frustrations? Yeah, why does everything that I say have to be a lie? And why are you so deeply into confrontations? 'Cause I'm not going nowhere, and you'll miss me when I die. Meet me halfway. Do I have to get a stick so you can beat me once again? Meet me halfway. 'Cause you're not fair. 'Cause I've tried so hard to get to know you, but you're not giving anything away. I've tried every trick in the book to try to break you down, but I stand defeated. I hold my hands up now, you beat me hands down. Lord, Lord.
And there we go, we are back in the room. So yes, the mask, absolutely mental. It is. You know, what'd you do? It works. It's good. I do enjoy that one. That is funny. Last year I scared many a child who knocked on my door with that. I had it sat in the window. Brilliant. I only put PG in it. Didn't use nicotine liquid. It was just pure PG VG mix, and it was chugging it out. And those coils, they get seriously warm. But we are chucking sort of 6 volts through a little sort of, disposable carto. Let's pop into the ad breaks. The reason I showed the Children in Need video, I'm going to announce when we're going to be doing the tickets very shortly after this second ad break.
Liberty Flights sponsors 10-Year Tip with Garry Dibley. Liberty Flight sponsors 10-year tip with Garry Dibley.
There we go. Back in the room once again. Yes, within this next week, I need to sort out the tickets going live. It's just there's a lot of admin involved in the way that we do it, and the easiest way that we do it, just to explain a little bit about how that's going to be run. Effectively, what we do, I don't take any money. The money goes straight into the Children in Need actual Just Giving page. Everybody that makes a donation from said date will receive a number of raffle tickets. Not physical raffle tickets, there will be an online spreadsheet. Now, that spreadsheet is numbered sort of 1 through to however many people buy tickets. Every time you buy a ticket, your name goes on a line. If you buy 4 tickets or whatever, so many. I need to sort the price out. It's probably going to be along the lines of what it was last year. So if you buy 5 tickets, you get 5 slots. And normally they will be consecutive slots, as you would if you were in a raffle ticket book thing. If you want to mix them up a bit, you can buy one early on, one late on, mix your numbers up, and then we do the live draw with a random number generator. Obviously, it's up to you to know your numbers. Basically hit the button, number comes up, it'll be bag number, bag of prizes, off you go, happy days. I'm waiting for some stuff still to come in. Our own Mark Shaw is sending me something, so thank you very much for that, Mark. And e-cig Wizard are sending me, about 50 bottles of juice and 10 kits. So there are still people that are saying they're going to send me stuff. I'm just waiting for that to come through. So probably launch tickets and then give it about sort of 3-4 weeks, and we'll do the live draw. Probably round about near the time where they do the live Children in Need thingy. At the moment, we're nearly on $3,000, I think, which is stunning. I would love. Last year the raffle raised, I think it was about 800 quid. If we could do somewhere near that again this year, it'd be absolutely fantastic. Take it closer to $4,000 as a final figure. So thank you very much everybody who's assisted thus far. And this week there'll be a thread in UK Vapors. I'll open that up, and that'll be where the raffle tickets will be announced and all that sort of stuff. But that will be happening this week. Let's crack on with the show. Mark's next little bit.
Now I want to talk about a few of the terms used about batteries, in particular series, parallel, stacked, and what they mean. So in this tin mod, it's a step down board, so I use the batteries in series, which means that on one end you've got get the batteries in. There we go. Now, there we go. So on one end you've got a negative. Sorry, started this in. You've got a negative here. And from that, your battery goes up to a positive, across, and then up to the positive here. So it's one complete loop, and that's in series. So I'll explain it. You have your negative here, so your circuit runs in through the negative, out, back through into here. So here is your plus and minus. And in these batteries that would give you, well, fully charged, what's that, 8.4 volts coming through that at whatever these are, and 2100 mAh. Now, in parallel, your batteries would run with your negatives at one end and your positives both at the other end. So your two positives go together. So your two positives go together to here, and your two negatives to here, and that's your circuit. And this, when they're this way around, you still only get fully charged. It's still 4.2 volts coming out, but the mAh for this would be doubled. So now it would be 4,200 mAh instead. That's the main difference between series and parallel. Now, what the misapprehension seems to be is about stacked batteries. The term stacked makes you think of that in a, say, in a tube normally. When you've got your negative here, positive, and negative, positive, that's a stacked battery. But that is also a stacked battery, because stacked and series is exactly the same thing. It's just the way they're positioned. They're called, this termed as stacked because they are stacked one on top of the other. But this is exactly the same thing and has exactly the same risks involved. So it's just something that you really need to be aware of. Hope that makes a little bit of sense. Now when it comes to using stacked batteries, or batteries in series if you prefer, the most important thing to remember is to use a pair of batteries and keep that pair all the time. So another good use for this heat shrink is it comes in a lot of different colours. So if you buy a few, you can pair up your batteries with the same colour wrap. So you know that that's a pair, different colours, a different pair, and then when you're using them, it's one less risk involved. I would always advise never, for what we're doing, never charge batteries in a device in series. Parallel is fine because they're going to charge exactly the same as one bigger battery, so it won't make any difference to that whatsoever. But in series, there's no way. You have to balance the charge between one battery and the other, and if they're running like that, it's not easy to do without a fancy charger. You're much better off take the batteries out, charge them on a reliable charger all on its own, and then put them back in the device. I know some people prefer to USB charge things, but for series it's just not doable, and I strongly advise against it, because I know in all the radio control forums, things like that, the main thing that goes wrong is the battery packs, because they're using, well, a lot more batteries in series and in parallel at the same time, and charging them that way, that's where you get your problems. So just stick to nice, sensible, with a good quality charger and good quality batteries, and there's not really a lot to worry about in that case. If you inspect them regular, don't abuse them, and don't let them discharge too low. Unlike the old NiCad batteries, these batteries prefer to be charged often, so don't wait till they're completely flat to charge them. Just charge them regularly and often, and use them. That's the best way to keep them for a long time. So that one's very old, it's one of the first ones I ever got of them, and it's still just as good as the brand new one. Catch you next week.
Okay, it's a tin. It's a blooming big tin. That's not that big. It's probably about 12 inches, and that is probably a man's 12 inches from nose to tail. Sainsbury's, £3. I looked at this today and it was screaming at me. It's rather big, very, very big. It's stupid. You'd have to be a mentalist to even consider modding something like this. And after last week, or a couple of weeks ago, doing the pink shoe, sort of a size comparison, you know, I was looking when I was, well, my wife hates taking me shopping, but we were walking around and I see that and I went, that is so cool, it's missing something, a tail. Obviously its tail is supposed to be this thing, but I thought it would be better if it actually had a proper tail. Something like that. And I thought it'd be rude not to install a switch. On his little, yeah, little nose switch. Just there. And I thought to myself, if you're new to modding and you wanted a rather big desk mod, this could be quite interesting. So internally we've got twin 18650s, yeah, twin 18650s, a VV board, a display, and obviously an ADSI connection going out there. The stuff you can see, like, you know, lining the internal of that is basically hot glue. It is, because this wasn't that rigid, and I think I used the mini little sticks for mine because they're cheap as chips, that sort of size, probably about 4 inches, and that seemed to do the job brilliantly of firming the whole sort of tin up. I know you're going to ask yourself, why the hell would you do that, Dibley? If you ever wanted a tin that you could work very comfortably within, and wanted a desk mod, that's it. It's bonkers. I think it's a little K fun. So a bit of bum vaping going on there. You know, yeah, totally stupid, and I haven't lost the plot, but I thought it would be an interesting mod. It actually stands very, very well, and it's one I'm going to keep almost as an anti-stand, if nothing else. It's cracking. Once it's there, the size of that is stupid. Don't ever make this. It is absolutely gimp, but I love it. It's brilliant. And a K-Fun is just doing its thing down in there. If there's one thing that we try to tell people or show people when we're doing this show, anything is moddable. Absolutely anything. If you see something you like, have a bash. You know, this is literally our standard VV board that we always use. Yep. In there, our display, our twin battery holders, and an atomizer connection out the bum. You know, this is the sort of thing we talk about when we talk about any. As long as you've got a box, something to put your mod in, all the components are available. All the components are readily available to have a bash. And if you fancied making something that was absolutely stupid and obscure, this is the best case to start with. it's got so much space. You know, this could be running off sort of 8 packs of 18650s, all firing through that board. It might blow it up, I don't know, but you could get at least sort of 4 18650s firing through it. It would last an absolute age. The one thing I wanted to do was try and put a USB up his bum and use this sort of as a dog hooker. That sounds so wrong, but build a switch into a sort of a pass-through thing. So when you press a button on the pass-through, that fires up the board and all that sort of stuff, which is possible. But in terms of simplicity, our usual setup was good. Now, people are going to call me an absolute loon for doing this, and I'm happy with that. I don't care. But there we go. £3 in Sainsbury's, a really sort of novel mod. Nosy switch. It reminds me so much of a cat. That view, I don't know why. Not our cat, but a cat. I had a cat once, and that is all I see of the cat I had. But there we go. Shortbread tin mod, doggy style. They do white and black. Obviously, everybody's going to be rushing out and buying these now. £3, and you get free biscuits. Happy days. Back to me in the studio.
And there we go, we're back in the room. Yes, totally mental. I see it, had to do it, couldn't resist. It was staring at me, and they do a white one as well. I might get them matching ends as bookend dog vape. No, that's going too far. Don't forget to tune in to the rest of the week. Tomorrow night, Marco is obviously back from his holidays for a second week with Vapor Scene. Following on from that, we've got DE Talk. On Wednesday, Mr. Dawn with VT Talk, and on Thursday he's back with the Haze Hour. On Friday, don't forget to tune in to the RY4 guys. On throughout the week, even Vaping Daz has his slot on there now, so catch up with those guys. And on Sunday, Mr. Kitson is back in town once again with his tackle box. So see you through the week. Don't forget, if there's anything you do want to see, let us know. We'll do our best to accommodate what we can. Contact us through the Vapor Trails forum, and we'll definitely try to facilitate as far as we can. Obviously, it's dependent on parts, spares, getting them in, this, that, and the other, and you know, cash to do it, obviously. So, with all that said, it has been well and truly emotional once again. Thank you very much to Mark and the team and all you guys in chat. I'll see you next week. Cheers. Good night.
Liberty Flight sponsors 10-Year Tip with Garry Dibley.